Okay, so welcome to our Presidio sales meeting. So click through this. We always start out with our gratitudes and celebrations. Is there anything anybody wants to brag about? Be happy for, Rebecca?
I just capped.
Okay.
Yay!
We're going to get to right there. We even have your own slide.
I sold my
Good
first
job.
listing.
Yay! Good job.
Good job.
And who hasn't sold their listing, right? Usually.
Hey, it
Yeah.
takes a
It's
skilled
okay though,
person in
right?
this market
Yeah.
to sell listing.
To get the listing is
To
a
get the
big deal,
listing,
right?
there you go, right?
Anybody online, you can just speak up. Okay. All right. Any needs and wants with your buyers or sellers that you want to need help with? Yes, Debbie.
I need to know if anybody has any information on a development happening in Springville, east of the rec center and the school there, that's almost back to it. There's a big area being developed and I didn't know if anybody had ever heard anything. There's no signage or anything yet.
So
And I
she's-
could go to the city, but if anybody knows
Yeah.
offhand, that'd be great.
Debbie's asking for any knowledge on a development west of Springville High School that's being developed.
I would maybe contact Flagship Homes. I know they were developing other land over there.
I got with Flagship Janae over there and has no knowledge of anything going on there. There had been a sign with an arrow and it pointed north and there was no other indicators, but I called Flagship and they said, what sign? I went to go take a picture of the sign so they could see and it was gone. So I don't know. It's a mystery.
All right. Yeah, it looks like you might have to get a hold of the city. Okay.
Sorry,
our-
Steve,
yeah.
I have a need as well.
Go ahead.
So I've got a pocket listing coming up in Mapleton. It's 0.38 acres, just under 4,400 square feet. Fully finished. It's got a big oversized 4th car garage with extra height and 2-car deep. They're just looking to sell and downsize for the moment. If we could get somewhere around $1,050,000 before it hits the market, they'd be happy. So if anybody has I think it'll probably go somewhere between 1.1 and 1.2 if we list it. So if anybody wants to try to put a deal together, let me know.
Okay.
This is Tyler Monteith, by the way, for those that are in the class.
We all want to put a deal together.
Yeah. We all want that, Tyler.
Let's try our best. It's probably about a month out before they actually list it. So we've got a little bit of time.
Okay, cool. And you can post information on our Presidio Facebook page only.
Yeah.
So,
I will do
Okay.
that as well. Thanks.
yep.
And
Yes.
any idea of any custom builders in North Utah County in the 4,000 plus square feet? Anything coming? Anyone know of anything up and coming? 4,000 to 5,000 square feet, million range?
In North Utah County?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's looking for a custom builder.
Have you looked into Concord Homes?
No, Concord?
Yeah, one of our agents represents them and they do semi-custom and custom. If you find the lot too, they'll do spot lots. And they'll just build on whatever lot you find.
Didn't Larry Miller just buy Concord?
Did they?
Yeah, they did in Daybreak.
Oh.
Yeah, they just bought Concord Homes.
Is the listing in Alpine, the one that's got the lots there? One of our agents has a listing there.
She has
Oh, is it?
Alpine, American Fort.
Who is the agent?
It's Kim Pinnell.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I'll talk to Kim.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, moving on to our broker moment. This is talking about the MLS photo rules. Photos may not contain any contact information or any information that is branded to a participant, subscriber, or real estate brokerage. So make sure you don't have those on your photos.
Yeah, I had someone ask a good question and I had to go look at the MLS rules. She said, I don't see anyone doing this, but would it be kind of cool to do a graphic that says open house or something? And you just can't do it. It has to be photos of the home.
Yep, and that is an NAR rule, not just our MLS. So most of our MLS rules are from NAR, by the way, just so you know that. Okay, any questions on that? And no, you cannot use other brokerages' past listings photos without their permission. I get that question too. And you can get fined for that by them and whatever the internet police is for using their photos.
True.
All right, so upcoming classes we have right here for next week. So we have several coming up. And it looks like we have a CE class on building your CMA using the Code of Ethics on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So if you don't like what I say today, feel free to attend that class. And then we had 41 closings last week. That is amazing in February. Whoops.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep, so congratulations. Of course, the Hive team's right up there on top, as always. Good job, Jason. And the England team and everybody else. I mean, look at these numbers. I can move that out of the way.
Becky's here, Regan's here. Sorry, I said it wrong. Let's see, who else is in the room that's up there?
Yeah, and many of you may be online because we
Yeah.
can't see.
We cannot see you all.
No, there's 19 people online. So congratulations.
Congratulations.
What a great job. Something to definitely be proud of.
I can.
All right, and then again, Becky capped. So congratulations, Becky. She's here. For doing that. Yeah. And then we're gonna go to our affiliates and we're gonna start with Joe Kruger from Lunetta. Joe, come on up here in front of the camera. Joe's a past friend of mine.
Yes,
Good to have him
you
here.
guys get some donuts. Should have brought like a salad or something, huh? Hey, guys, I'm Joe. I dropped those off. They're little camera covers for your, they don't really work well for phones. You can put them on your phone if you want. My name and number's on the back, just so you know.
This is
So,
laptops.
yeah, they're great for laptops. I figured I would say something just about the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. It's affecting rates, you know, depending on what happens and if like Russia actually invades, it could force rates to go down. So as you guys all know, they've been pretty high. If you guys have any questions at all, please reach out to me. Like, you know, I know you guys all have your people, but you know, give Lunetta a chance, give me a chance. Like, let me impress you guys, and I'll show you what I can do, you know, for everyone online. I'll make sure you guys have my contact information, but you know, keep killing it, and please give me a call if you have anything. I'd love to help any of you guys. You know, like I said, my number's on the back, and I'm gonna be touching base with you guys periodically. So thanks so much, guys. And get some donuts.
Yes, thank you for the donuts,
Thank
Joe.
Okay, thanks, Joe. I move out of the screen because Joe's like 6'8" and I'm not. Makes me look pretty small. Joe, I've known for a long time. He played football for the University of Utah, so immediately we become good friends. And he's actually had me golf with Coach Witt and Sataki. This is the guy who put that
You
together.
got the hookup, huh?
Yeah, so
Got the hookups as well.
yeah, it's got a lot of hookups. So give Joe a shot. He's with Lunetta now. So, all right, Amy, you're online.
I am. Thank you. Congratulations, weekly closers. You guys are doing amazing. It may be not a surprise to you, but home insurance does not cover everything. And you think, well, what am I paying for? That is a great question. We want to make your process for your clients easier. You may be surprised to know that insurance will cover you if a meteor hits or if there is a volcano, but it does not cover things like flood, earthquake, or landslides. We want to make the process easy. It gets very confusing, and having an agent that will be your affiliate, kind of your liaison between your insurance carrier and yourself makes a world of difference. And we would love to be that link between you and your client, or you yourself or your family member, to make your insurance process so much easier and to make sure that you are covered adequately, that your assets are covered. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and give us a call. Excuse me, give us a call. Thanks.
Can I make a question?
Sure.
Amy, I've noticed that many insurance companies won't cover flood. Is there a distinction about what type of flood? Like when we had all the flooding this past spring from the outside, that they wouldn't cover that. But what if somebody's sink overflows or their toilet overflows, or somebody leaves a hose on outside and it comes in through a window well? Is that all considered the same?
No, it's not. And that's a great question. Any flooding outside of your home is not going to be covered unless say you have a water main break and it breaks inside the wall. That would technically be covered. If you have a sprinkler that breaks and floods your window well, that would go and then goes into your home, there's only certain things of that instance that are covered in that. That's where it gets really confusing, where it's a really good idea to have an agent to kind of help you walk you through that process. If your toilet floods, that's technically not covered unless you have what's called water backup or water sewer backup in your home. So it gets kind of confusing where you think you might be covered, you actually might not. So it's good to have, the agent to kind of walk you through and kind of, go through each of those things to make sure you are covered.
We'll consult with you. Thank you, Amy.
Yes, thank you.
So you as agents aren't insurance professionals, so definitely reach out when you don't know something for your client and set up a meeting with Amy. A lot of times we're seeing the new buyers have to buy that insurance that goes from the house to the street because they scope the pipe and there's roots all in it. And then if that breaks, that's a huge bill. And they have insurance that covers that. It's so cheap. It's worth it.
Correct. And that's not included in a regular home insurance policy.
Yeah.
That is an add-on. It's an endorsement.
The
So
water main from are you talking about the water main outside to your house?
correct.
You have that, okay. Yeah, I
Yes,
had a
it's
friend
called
that had
service
that.
line coverage.
Okay. Yeah, I had a friend have that happen last year and it cost them $30,000 out of pocket.
Wow.
So I want that. So I'll
Yeah.
call you.
Okay.
Especially,
Your clients want it too.
Oh, my clients, yeah.
right. It's especially important, just really quick on service line coverage. If you have a client that's buying a home that has large trees in front of their house, almost guaranteed that they're going to want to have that service line coverage because those roots from those trees almost indefinitely, especially if it's an older home, have penetrated those pipes or have the potential to, and that is not covered on a regular home policy. So
Okay.
something to think
Thanks,
about.
Amy.
You're welcome.
Adam, are you online? I don't know who's online. Do we have any other affiliates online? What's your name in the back?
Zach, I'm just something US title.
Okay, US title. Got it. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. We're gonna go ahead and move on. I will introduce our amazing instructor for the day. He's been doing real estate for 22 years and he's pretty stubborn in the way he does things. So you're gonna learn his way today. He took a very over tanned picture and put it online yesterday.
Hey, we lost the volume. Online, we can't hear you. Can you hear me? We can't hear you guys anymore. After your tan picture, that's all we heard.
We can't hear you.
I think they're figuring it out. It looks like over in the audio section, right there, says that there's an issue. Looks like they are just gonna get right back on. So please be patient.
Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We switched laptops out. Okay, so my disclaimer here on this is that this is the way I do a CMA, okay? So my hope and goal for you guys is just to pick out a nugget or something that may work for you. We're not all gonna do things the same way. Jen knows I'm very black and white. I even wear black and white clothes. It's just how it is. And I'm not the party guy. I'm not gonna make this pretty in a pretty presentation. I'm gonna be just factual, and that's just how I've always done it, and it works for me. And
Can you get it up on the screen or?
it's not up. Oh, gosh. No, Chelsea left.
That's very like.
Yeah, somebody get Chelsea.
Well, it's kind of.
I don't know which,
Mine should be, what's that HDMI right now?
that's this one here. That one should work right here.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need to share screen now.
Before you get diving in,
All
I'm
right.
like, let's see the.
I am
It
not
just never
sharing
showed up on
screen,
here, so I
so,
don't know if the HDMI is problem.
yeah.
That's the hard thing with a new laptop too. Sometimes you have to figure out how to make the screen go through the
Let me
HDMI.
just- You want to go out of that?
Yeah, well,
So display is how I usually do it.
but there's, you can just hit function F10. Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now try work. I want to know how many people still type in WFR to get to the MLS. I've done it for so many years, I cannot change to UtahRealEstate.com.
I don't either.
Do you type in
MLS.
WFR? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was wondering that. the
Thanks,
other day.
Chelsea.
You're welcome. Can everyone see it on Zoom?
Thank you so
Good.
much. Okay.
okay. All right, you can hear me, Tana? Everything's good? We can
Yep.
go?
Yep.
All right. All right, we have our crap together, that's for sure. Okay, so, yeah, it's a good thing we have support. Just so you know, after the MLS, they come in and they present to the Salt Lake Board of Realtors, Board of Directors, and they tell us stuff that are coming up. And so they're getting rid of CMA stuff, so this CMA function you'll might know is already changed. They're gonna keep this cloud CMA over here on the left, which is something I've actually never clicked on because I don't care. You know, it might make it pretty, and so I'm like, I don't need that.
Same, I never use that.
Yeah.
Wasn't that
need
subscription
it.
as well?
It might be, maybe subscription
It,
based.
it was, I mean, there was like a real basic one, but it was subscription based. Is
Yeah.
it still
Yeah.
subscription based if they're getting rid of the other stuff?
Yeah, it says it leaves, right? So
Okay.
I don't know. Okay,
Use
so
it And
Yeah.
it's free for their basic features, but if you wanna pay.
oh,
Yeah,
for advanced
that's what I thought.
features, got it. That's typical, right? Okay, what I need then is a listing that you want to do CMA on.
Oh.
Yes, Rebecca.
I have one.
Okay,
All right. So the last MLS was 171.8237.
one more time.
171.8237.
All right, so here's a property that we have, welcome.
Hi, sorry.
And so the first things that I do is I do exactly that. I try to find out if it was listed previously, because if it is, then it has all the details and description that you may want. If you're gonna be going to this listing appointment, right? Or if you're gonna be looking up this property because you're representing the buyer side like Rebecca is. So the next thing I do, I like having two screens so that I can have my information on one screen and another. So then if you don't have that, then hang on, I'm gonna minimize this, get it out of my way. Maybe not. You always open up new tab. So click up here on new tab and it brings a duplicate screen of what you just had, okay? And then I always go to tax data down here. So search tax data. And if I am going too fast, you could watch the video and catch up a different time. No. Just let me know if you have a question. So I want to pull up this property. So I need the house number. I do it by house number 781 and it's in Utah County. Okay. So then we'll go to Utah County and hit search. And then we'll find it. How do I get rid of this pen?
It's the
It's
little, take the little
annoying.
line button.
This one here?
Yeah. There you
Oh,
go.
thanks.
So you can just move that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So when I go back, it's 1000 south. So then 781 west, 1000 south. It's this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So click on it so that we have it up. Okay. And what this does is it gives me some of the information. I don't really care about the assessed value or what it says because that's never accurate. You never want it to be accurate as the homeowner because you want to pay less in property taxes. And so what I'm looking for is making sure that whose name's on here because I'm going to match this up to a PR, right? Because if they don't match up, then there's a red flag. You got to figure out who's supposed to be on title, that's not on title, and figure out what's going on. So I look at the square footage, right, of the property total, basement, and sometimes, yeah, you can see a footprint of it, of the property in the neighborhood. So pretty standard neighborhood, that's a good thing. So this one should be fairly easy to look up, okay? So the next thing I do then is I'll open another window. Okay, I'll hit new tab again, and then I'll go search to quick search. Okay, the reason why I use quick search is because it doesn't give me too much information to have to sort through. Full search gives you the whole gambit. It's too much to search through. Quick search is easy. And then if I ever want to change it to full search or something, it just populates it when I switch it to full search. So I always start with quick search when I'm doing this. So I'm always going to start with solds. And I'm always going to go 90 days back, okay? And then I'm going to narrow down this number. It says 9,374 homes, right? And so I'm going to narrow it down to the zip code. And so the zip code is 84663, okay? So that narrows it down at least to that city area. So now we're only at 105, okay? So that's a good starting point. I click view map on the left-hand side, okay? And then I go to this radius tool right here. Am I going too fast? Okay, stay with me. And then I set the radius location, okay? And I always start out with quarter mile because we're in a neighborhood. And then I,
can tell you the address,
okay,
781 west. 1000 south. Spring Hill. And the zip is 84663.
okay. It set criteria, it goes and finds it and brings in 3, right? Okay, so 3 isn't really what I want to look at. So I go back to the radius tool, hit set radius location again, and I change this to half a mile out, 0.50, hit set criteria. It shows you the bigger radius. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's a good start. Click view results. Okay, now the way I have it set up is I have it set up by the cheapest, least expensive, however you want to say it, first. Okay, so I go back to the property and go, okay, it was 1652 square feet. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So now I'm going down here and I'm not really looking at anything but square footage at this point. Okay, trying to find out. And so all the classes I've taken, everything, the general rule is you can go 500 square feet below, 500 square feet above. Okay, so it was 1600. I'm going to start checking things that I want to look at. Some of these 2000 square foot properties, I can look at 1800 square foot. And then maybe throw in this one, it's getting at the top. Okay. So then I'm going to view the client history report. Anybody ever use client history report? I use client history report, and I'll show you why in a second. Now I'm going to go back to the property and go, okay, it's got 3 beds, 2.5 baths. Okay, so now I have to start narrowing it down to compare apples to apples. Okay, so I'm similar in square footage. That helped narrow down that list. Okay, so as we look at the first property, and I don't even care if it's a 2-story or rambler. I don't care about any of that yet. Okay, but I will. So I look at client history report because right here, as you scroll down, it shows you everything that happened without you having to click on the extra tax data or info button. Okay, and so this thing went active and took backups, then active again, and then backup again, and under contract. So you kind of go, okay, what's going on that it had so much activity, right? Now, if you haven't looked at your subject property, you haven't toured that home yet, you really don't know what the inside of that looks like. I do recommend that you make 2 visits to a home, one to meet with the people and take a prelim of the home. And then the second time is to go back and then you'll do a tour of the home with them twice and present your CMA to them and get your contract signed. That's how I do it. So that the second time I can go back and look at pictures and go, okay, now I can really narrow things down a little bit more if I had way too many listings to look at. Okay. So this one, original list price $449, it sold at $445. Okay. And I do not look at price per square foot ever, unless I'm in the rural areas. Okay. So this one, another one that came in 510, listed at $499, right? That's typical of the market. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. This one had 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. So this one's a similar comp right here with closer to square footage and beds and bath. This one, as I'm looking at it, it's a little bit bigger, 400 square feet bigger. Anybody know what the difference on 400 square feet is in a house? As you look at a house, it's like 4 inches around the house bigger, because you measure the outside of the house to get your measurements, right? So it's not much bigger, just so you know. But mentally, people think, oh man, that's huge. That's 400 square feet difference, right? So, but when you look at the big picture, it's not that much. But this one is 4 bed, 2.5 baths. Okay, so this one's a comp that we can look at, and pretty simple, active, under contract, sold, just like that. All right, as we get bigger, 518, you can see everybody's still bidding up above. It's selling for higher than they're asking for, and apparently appraising. This one is similar square footage, 3 beds, 2 baths. Okay, and it's a rambler though. So the others were 2 stories. And then this one, 3-bed, 2.5 bath. So these are all decent comps so far, right? And they sold pretty easy. This one's a little bit bigger, okay? This one, 2-story. And then you notice I haven't looked at finished basements. I haven't gone into all the weeds yet of all that kind of stuff, because I'm still trying to figure out if this is gonna be the 5 that I want to show the client, okay? So now I gotta go back and go, okay, what type of house is this 2-story? Okay, so the one Rambler that we have in here, I can kick out if I want to, okay? But it's similar square footage, right? So I'm probably just gonna keep it. Because nowadays, square footage and the amount of beds and baths and finished basement is more important than the style of home. Back in the day when there was 10,000 listings and we had so many, yeah, you had to go Ramblers only, you had to do all this, right? But when the data gets fewer and fewer, it's okay, because appraisers do it. And this is how appraisers do it. They don't differentiate between the styles of homes. Okay, and that's in this neighborhood, okay? You can't do that in a condo development. So that doesn't work. There you have to be exact in that development, stuff like that. So this works for residential houses, okay? The problem with CMAs, and Jason was saying earlier, it eludes him in his career, is this doesn't work if we're in a rural area and the next house is 5 miles down the road, right? And it's a Rambler and that kind of stuff. So this is great for neighborhoods, the way this is. You have to adjust and adapt how you're gonna do your CMAs depending on the data you have given to you, okay? So yes, absolutely. If you have a very tough one out in Grantsville or Twilla or something like that, or Vernal or wherever, it's gonna be harder to deal. And sometimes the answer is, you know what, they're just gonna have to get an appraisal, because we can't pull in comps close enough to narrow it down. And it's worth them investing in it, or you as an agent investing in that appraisal to find out where a good price is gonna be. Okay, so sometimes that's just the only answer. But in most of all this rural stuff, this is the easier way to do it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with these sold comps, okay? I print this, okay? I print them in color. And then I go, okay, now I need to see what the actives are. So I go active, backup, and under contract all at the same time. Remove the 90 days because that doesn't apply. And there's 10, okay? Well, it'll still stay within our parameter of where we did the radius tool, okay? So now you're looking at similar type things in that area, except for now, as I look at this, the square footage of all these things that are our competition are much bigger, right? You may have this one at 1,792 square feet, that's close, okay? So you can pull it up and see what it looks like. And this one's under contract. Have you guys ever called an agent who's under contract and said, hey, what'd you go under contract for? And they tell you?
Sure.
Yeah. Are they supposed to tell you? No. But can you ask? Yeah, absolutely. You could ask, you know, should they tell you no? You could say it was close to the list price, or it was above list price, stuff like that. You can't give away your client's information permission. That's against the code of ethics. Can you get it out? Is that against the code of ethics, asking those questions? All right, so the problem with this property is it's to be built. Okay, so this is a build job. That's gonna end up being there, Arrive. It's an Arrive home. And they're listing it at 466, okay? What was our basic price on, this is under contract. What was our basic sold price that we had on the other one? We printed out all those sold. Did you guys get an average price? Rebecca?
500-ish.
Huh?
Was it about 500?
Yeah, it's around 500,000. Very good. Okay, so this is low, right? And maybe this is their base price. We don't know. So now you got to do some research and talk to the agent that's on here and say, hey, what are you guys including in your property? What are your standard features? What are your upgrades? Is this your standard price? And what is it really going for? Are they really going for 525 because this is basic? I don't know Arrive Homes. I think we have somebody in our company, right, that worked with them? Maybe not. Ryan Haskell,
right.
yeah, that's right. So it's always good to have somebody you can call and say, where's this like? So whether you use it or not, because the rest of the comps that we had were they were too big and I wouldn't have used them, right? And so when you go to your client, you say, well, all the rest are bigger homes, and so they're not really our competition, because they're not. They're a different category, right? They may be second time buyers or something like that. So then whether you have any or you don't have any, it's kind of irrelevant. You go back to refine search. Okay, so I always print out this tax data sheet so that they can see this as well. So I get one of our cool Presidio black folders, right? And I put in my sold comps, my active under contract backup comps, and I highlight, okay, here's where I get creative. Okay, this is the party side of me. I take a red highlighter and I mark sold and the price and the square footage and the beds and bath. My under contract ones, I'll use like a yellow highlighter. Okay, you see where I'm going? My actives, I'll use a blue highlighter. That's as fancy as I get. Okay, just so that I can say these are different when they're all mixing them up on the table. Keep all the reds together, keep the blues together. Okay, that's as pretty as it gets. They don't really care about the rest of the crap. If they're analytical, you got to know your client. Then I'll reach out to a title company like US Title in the back, and I'll say, hey, will you do a property report for me and get me all the numbers and everything going on around that neighborhood and everything like that. But I don't start that way. So when I do my, how much time do we have? 15 minutes. Okay, so when I do this is maybe my second time at the house because I needed to preview it, or even my first time at the house, okay? I have those documents with me in my Presidio folder, okay? I go and knock on the door. They open the door, I say hi, I have a smile on my face, act like I like them, act like I like their cat that just rubbed up against me and put hair on my suit, right? That happens, okay? You still gotta smile through that stuff. And I have a little gift that I usually have my wife make up because again, she's creative. Little $5, $10 gift I bring with me, hand to him, say, this is just for having, thank you for having me over, never bring it up again. Do that to all my listing appointments. Walk in the house, and they're like, you know, okay, where do you want to start? I said, well, you know what, let's start with a tour. And then I said, I want you to show me around your whole house, tell me everything you love about the house, tell me all your upgrades and the things that you're really gonna miss, okay? And I don't write things down because I don't need to, okay? I can remember everything. You guys might need to take notes at this point, right? Then we go through the house, okay? And I'm mentally, as I walk through the house, looking at the closets, things I'm gonna have to retell them to fix. Is there too much furniture in the front living room? You know, where's the clear pathway gonna be? If we remove this, is it gonna make the illusion of this room bigger? That kitchen, is that kitchen driving me nuts because there's too much crap on the countertop and stuff on top of the fridge? I'll address all that later, but you take these mental notes, okay? Yes, Robin?
Hey, just a suggestion. I read a book and they said that when you're taking notes, the other person actually feels like you're not paying attention. And so, you know, our phones all have recording devices. You can tell them, hey, I'm gonna just record this conversation, then you have everything.
That's good.
Good idea. Good idea. So
My memory is not as good as yours.
great. Yeah, well, we have different backgrounds. Okay, so as we go through back to the house, we say, okay, let's go to the table now. We're at the kitchen table. One, I want to make sure all the players are there that are on title, right? If the husband's not there and he's a decision maker, it's almost a waste of time even being there that day. Okay, so the appointment needs to be made with all the decision makers. Okay, so we're back at the table. I say, okay, these documents I'm going to show you are the facts of what's going on of your neighborhood and everything going like that. Okay, there's three reasons why a house doesn't sell. What are they? Location, price, and condition, right? Very good. Those are the only three things, okay? What can you do about the location? Nothing. What can you do about the price? Right? You can help control that. And the condition of the home, they control that. You can't do much for it, but you can make suggestions, okay? So you know whether if it's, as you've walked through that house, if this is gonna be a tough listing or an easy listing to sell, or you've noticed the corners and does it all need touched up paint? Does the carpet need stretched? All that kind of stuff, right? You've taken those notes in your head. So when you go through the CMA, I say, okay, here's what's sold. I always show them what's sold first, okay? And I pull out those one at a time, okay? Here they are, they're close to your square footage, they're within 500 square feet, and I explain the CMA to them pretty much just like I did you as we looked it up and say, okay, this one starts, this is the lowest one here. And they're like, okay, let's see the next one, right? They want to see the higher ones, get to the higher ones. I don't give them the highest one till the end, obviously. And I say, okay, here they all are. So I said, so what do you think? And I let them talk. I don't even say another word until they talk. And what do you think your home would sell for? Again, I'm getting feedback, right? I've already gotten feedback of, well, we're moving to Georgia because my husband's got a job. We need to be there in 3 weeks. He's gonna go ahead and go. So I already know their sense of urgency from the conversations that you must have with them. These are critical conversations that you have as you're walking through the house. Okay, so I have an idea of what's going on. So then I will suggest, I'll say, well, here's what I think. After they've said something, your price range would be, I never say, you should sell this for $525. Never will I ever say that. Your price range will be between $500 and $530. And that's because here's what's sold, right? And we always want to start at the top of the market, okay? I don't think we should be at 500 because it's always better to come down on the price than it is to go up, right? So I think, yes, it's probably a good idea to be 530. And what do they say? 550, 575, right? Happens every time, 600,000, right? Your CMA is 525, let's go 6. So what happens is you say, okay, you know what? That's fair, right? Because you never want to tell them they just gave you a bad idea. You say, you know what? That's fair. However, we're going to sign an agreement. I will draw up a contract that says we will put it on the market for your price at 600,000 for 2 weeks. And if we don't get any offers and we hardly get any showings, we know that the other market or that the market is telling us that you're overpriced, and you agree to come down to the price that we're talking about now, which is 530, right? And so I have that critical conversation right up front, because in 2 weeks, when I tell them, you know, I told you so, it's so much easier. Remember the contract, we're gonna go down to here. And yeah, maybe I start back at 550 and I don't go clear to 530, but I let them know the expectations up front, is I'm not gonna waste my time in marketing dollars, because that's what it used to take, right? To sell this property if you're gonna be way overpriced and try to sit on an overpriced house. Okay, I'm not interested in that kind of a listing. Okay, yeah.
Also, if you bring up the fact that, say, you know, when you see a home that's been on the market for a long time, most people think there's something wrong with it.
Yep.
So you don't want to like wait that long, because then people are going to think there's something wrong with it.
Yep, absolutely. So the DOM, days on market, they're gonna stay. Let me look and see if we got rid of CDOM yet. Oh, not yet. CDOM, we're gonna get rid of, they told me.
Good.
Because it doesn't make any sense to have
Everyone gets so
CDOM
confused.
and DOM, right? Days on market.
Is it just to show you the difference between, like, somebody puts it on the market, it's gonna, they take it off for a while.
Uh-huh.
put it
Yeah,
back on, so
cumulative
it's-
days on market.
Yeah.
And so it's just gonna be days on market. And so their rule is you cannot put it off market. If you want to try to change the MLS number on a property, the MLS rule is 91 days. It has to be off market 91 days, and then it'll reset, okay? Yes, there's many things you can do to get it to kick back out on hot sheets, right? And I will actually show you what those are.
Steve, off market or complete, or like canceled or expired? You have to take it.
Probably canceled or expired.
Yeah, it can be,
Not the off market status.
yeah, it has to be off market for 90 days. So it can be the status, but canceled is better, you know, that one. But the problem is if it goes canceled instead of off market, then all the agents that are farming those type of expired or off market listings or whatever, start to try to get your listing from you. So you have to make sure your client know that, hey, we have this listing until this certain date.
So you don't have to let it expire to get it to reset. You can just have it off market through 91 days and it resets.
Yeah, I believe so. You have to, it has to be off the market for 90 days. On 91, it'll reset. That's an MLS rule. Okay, so if you look, and this one's not being a great example, but if you look on the history, okay, and you see how they lowered the price, $1,000 right here. See where I'm at? That kicks it back out to all the hot sheets out there, okay? It's not just lowering the price that does it or changing the status. There's other things that will also re-kick it out. And that are some of these facts here in the paragraphs, okay? If you change something, like I purposely don't check all the boxes on some of the things. I'm not talking like washer, dryer, or that kind of stuff, but I don't necessarily will put, I have to give you an example. Let me see. So pool, right? It doesn't have a pool, or it doesn't have a hot tub, or all the exclusion things. You will exclude your specific things that are like the washer and dryer and refrigerators, right? Those kind of things. But dog run, all these type of things that a lot of houses don't have, hot tub, I don't exclude those. I don't put a check. So if you go back in a week or two and you're not getting the traffic you want, you're not getting this, and you want to kick it back out, you go and exclude the hot tub that you've never had, and you exclude the dog run you never had, it kicks it back out to the hot sheets. So there's certain terms and things like that that you can do.
Like the driveway or master with those?
Yeah, it will do that for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Anything you change on it, even the notes, I think also.
yeah. But obviously you have to represent the house properly, but the things, I don't check all those excluded boxes because I know it'll kick things back out. And without having to lower the price again and stuff like that, right? So there's little secrets that you can learn. Okay, so here we are back at the table. I've talked to them about the price. I've given them my CMA. I talk about the actives. These are your competition that's out there right now. And right now in our price range of square footage, we actually don't have any competition. So depending on where you priced it, and if they say, well, we want to be 575,000. Well, let me show you what the houses at 575,000 look like. And I pull up those square footages. Well, these are much bigger houses. Your house isn't there, right? Here's why. We could start there, but you're probably not going to sell it there. And then if I have to go into pictures and stuff like that. So I always have my laptop with me, right? And hopefully you can get Wi-Fi. Do y'all remember carrying a little box of Wi-Fi? Do you ever have to do that? Okay, us older agents, I'm happy to
I
say,
still have it. the
yeah,
hotspot.
a little, now your phone can hotspot, right? But they had these little boxes we had to carry for Wi-Fi in case they didn't have Wi-Fi in their house. Anyway, so then they're thinking about it, right? They're like, okay, let me think about it for a few minutes. Okay, great, fine. Let me give you one more tour of your house. I'm going to guide you through your whole house. And then I start at the front door with the closet and talk about how you have to see one section of the 3 sections of a closet so that they can see the back wall. They know how deep it is. They want to be able to picture their stuff in the closet. You'll have to take down your fine Coca-Cola display and your BYU crap that you have on your wall. That has to be painted over, right? Because I'll never sell a house with BYU on it. There's no way. I don't know how it happens.
Sounds discriminatory.
Okay, I did. I couldn't believe it. He would not repaint the basement and I sold that house. Couldn't believe it. But I said, you're eliminating
So
half of
one
your people.
fan.
Yeah, half of your competition. Anyway, it happens, but you have to go through and you showcase the home with them, right? Yeah, and you tell them, they're like, well, it depends on their situation. Well, we can't afford a storage shed. Fine, put it in the garage, park outside the garage, right? There's a difference between living in a home and selling a home. I constantly say that to them. There's a difference between living in a home and selling a home. I've had a house so full, a bedroom, that they weren't using boxes that you couldn't even walk into it. And I say, you see that window back there? That's how big this is. It's the same as this bedroom here next to it. And they were fine with that, but that's where they stored it and we still sold the house, right? And then after I've gone through the whole house and come back again, I say, okay, let's go out in the backyard and let's look at your backyard. Can you sell a house with an unfinished backyard for the same price?
Mhm.
Absolutely. Do they need to re-landscape it or do things with it? Yeah, no, only if it's a disaster. I would have them clean up after their dogs if they have dogs, and pets are another problem with showings, right? If it smells like cat in that house, you need to tell them because they need to hear about it. Yeah.
I just went on a museum a few weeks ago and we talked about doing an open house and also having showings, and she doesn't want to put her cat in a kennel, like a cage or anything. She wants her cat to be able to roam around the house with people, but people have allergies.
Right.
So
So you have to put it in the notes. You have to disclose it to people. There is a cat. She will not lock it up. If your client has allergies, yeah, be aware, right? But that nowadays, that's something you have to disclose. This is off topic. When I worked security for the church, when I worked church security, I was at a temple and people were dropping because other people would walk by with essential oils that they had put on them, and other people were having allergic reactions. I'm like, I had no idea that's a thing. Really, but older people, they're very susceptible to certain things. So it's not a good idea to always put a candle on or certain things in the house, right? So
If
something to
they
think about.
if they have dogs and they're like, oh, we're gonna get the carpets washed, make sure they do that like weeks before you start showing the house, because even if they pay for that enzyme, whatever, it will smell so strong.
Have them rake it.
Rake it.
That's what you do, is you get and I have a carpet cleaner that does this. They have to rake the carpet. Even after cleaning and the enzyme treatment, it's still bad, and they will rake up gobs and gobs of hair from the carpet, and that's what makes the smell.
There you go. So if any of you have any pet questions, Ludi is the broker to go to. Not Jen or I. Ludi's the pro. She deals with this.
Yes, I do.
She has her answers. All right, so that just really goes into my listing appointment stuff. As far as CMA goes, it's simple to me. It's get your solds, get your actives, get your under contracts. Now you get backups as well, and you present those, right? And that's how you do it. I do it with a radius tool. Other people might do it a different way, but I go with square foot. I narrow it down to the city, right? And then I go square footage, bedrooms and baths, and then I present it that way. Yes.
When does the year come into play? Like an older home?
Yeah, so again, see how we were in a nice neighborhood right there? It really didn't affect. But there's homes all over the place that they're putting in a pocket, a brand new home amongst old homes. That really does have an effect. It's a great question. So 10 years is your range that you want to go back on, because otherwise it's just getting too dated, and you can't compare 1970s green carpet, orange appliance to something 20, 30 years later, right?
So 10 years, like 5 on each side? Or?
Yeah, pretty much 5 on each side. Same as your square footage, 500 on each side. Yeah, Jason.
What about a home that's really similar but has a much larger lot? Like I'm doing one right now.
Sure.
That's on 0.14 acres, but there's a really good comp that's on 1.5 acres.
Yeah, so then you have to look at the land value, right? Let's say that house wasn't there. What's the land value gonna end up being? And you have to look at that, and then you put a house on it, and does that increase the value or does that decrease it? And is it zoned all the same? Is it zoned residential, or can it be zoned agricultural, commercial, whatever, right? Because it's a tricky question, because if you're in an area and it can be a commercial zone, it could go a lot higher, right? So you have to look at the land value on that. Any other questions? Yes?
If you're struggling for comps, are you best to increase the distance instead of like 90 days?
Yeah.
It's just.
So there's many ways. It's a great question. I'll stop sharing here. So when you're struggling, if the first thing I do, I'll go out a mile, okay? Because that's what an appraiser will do. He'll go out a mile for the first part, okay? And then what was the second part of your question?
I just didn't know if it's best to go out or increase days on,
Oh, yeah. So, and that's the thing is you can do any of those, right? You can go up to a year, right? So those are your options to go out or longer days on market. It just depends on what you're looking for, what you can't find. Nowadays, you can find a lot. It depends, right? So, but yeah, we've had to go both a year, and we've had to go farther than a mile, like my own property that didn't appraise when I built it, right? I had to go much farther out, and we actually had to go knock on builders' doors to ask for their copy of their contracts to show it to the appraiser, right? That kind of stuff. So there's sometimes you really have to put in some legwork if you can't do this. Do we have some agents that are appraisers?
We had one. Is he still? I think
It's
he's out of
South Jordan. He's at South Jordan office.
He taught a class for us.
Yeah. Those are good classes. We can look to get appraisers to teach, because they're going to tell you all kinds of things that they do technically. Like they never look at the price per square foot. And they said, if an agent asks me something about a price per square foot, I know he's a rookie agent. And I'm thinking, didn't know that. I've been doing this for so long. And
I still use it.
It actually functions.
Just like as a comparison to all of it, like it's the very last thing I do, but I still use it because I still feel like there's a lot of homes that, like you were saying, like an older home that's been totally remodeled, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's all up to date, but yet it was built in 1965, and it's super hard to find comps that actually truly reflect that. So then I look at the price per square foot of what a newer home is selling for, and I take that just into my mind as a
Right.
consideration, not as a, oh, well, if that sold for $156 square foot, then this one's going to. Like,
Right.
it's not a hard and fast thing, but it's a consideration thing for me.
But you'll see a lot of sellers do that. They make the mistake of going, oh, well, his sold for this. Well, his home's, you know, that changes by the size of your home, right? If this is a 5,000 square foot home or a 3,000 square foot home, that price changes, whether they're, you know, new or both
Yeah.
built the same
Well,
year,
and,
so,
and the size of the lot factors into that too.
right?
I sold a house that had a 5-acre lot up the mountain in North Salt Lake, and it was the hardest house for me to comp out. Because there was no other homes that had 5 acres. There wasn't even anything that had a 1/2 acre in that neighborhood. And so it was so difficult for me to figure it out, and the price per square foot was way off because of the land, so.
So there's a question here. It says, can you show how to adjust the suggested purchase price when in CMA column comparisons? If your home has a huge separate garage that adds $10,000, for example, or a commercial agent price per square foot. My answer is nope. It's not what I just taught you, and not how I do it. So absolutely, I don't do that, Misty. So that's the other thing they're getting rid of. The biggest thing that they're getting rid of is that adjustable thing on the CMA. If you use the CMA program and it says this bedroom or this bathroom is worth how much? I don't know. I don't know the materials. I don't know anything about, I don't know the square footage of that bathroom. I can't say this is a $5,000 bathroom or a $15,000 bathroom. They're getting rid of all that. We're the only state, Utah, that actually has that in the whole country, they told me. So we're like, well, then why do we have it? Because you have to vote to get it off, but
Whatever they did with the new column switch thing anyway, it's awful. I miss the old one. The old one I felt was just simple.
Yeah.
And now it's like we have to be the experts to go in and guess what that value is. It's so awful.
Yeah, it's totally going away, so we won't worry about it. Jason.
In the past, when I've used that, I've used it for properties where I'm looking for second kitchens or basement apartments.
Yeah.
Because then you can go in and you can
add a value
Yeah,
to it,
add-
right? So I had an agent ask me the other day, what's the value of a kitchen, of a second kitchen and basement?
say it was me, it's not.
I never say who it is.
It was an agent.
No, I actually thought it was somebody who wasn't here. Okay, anyway, my answer to her is the same thing. I don't know the materials, I don't know the square footage, I don't know anything, so we can't put a price on it.
Good thing you're asking questions.
And
though.
we don't
Yeah.
even know if it's a legal second kid, so it all
Right.
depends on whether it will add no value if you can't rent it out legally.
Sure.
Right. But there are some things you can talk to your client about when you're doing your listing appointment. What are some things, then you tell me, what are some things that actually adds value and is worth them fixing up in their home before they put it on the market? Paint,
Yeah.
carpet, flooring, right? What else? What are the 2 rooms that actually,
Bathrooms, kitchens.
bathrooms and kitchens, very good. And that's never changed. Bathrooms and kitchens. If you can upgrade those, absolutely do it. I tell them that before you put it on the market, do it. Bedrooms, it's 4 walls and a closet. It's not rocket science in a bedroom, right? Then it's just the square footage of it. So, yeah, Jason.
On that note, where it only adds $1,000 for a bedroom on the MLS, is that legit?
Okay, no, and I'll tell you why. And that's because back in, I think it was the mid-80s, Brad told me this just recently. Brad's the CEO of the MLS. He says they had an appraiser come out and meet with them and say, okay, tell us what your numbers are. This is the mid-80s, okay? And they've never been adjusted since then. So Brad totally hates it. That's why we're just getting rid of it. So that $1,000 on there was back then, right? Yeah, which doesn't apply now, or it doesn't apply to a home in Alpine compared to one in Taylorsville, right? So it just doesn't make sense to have it. Okay, that's all I have on CMAs. And any questions?
A lot.
A lot, yeah. So we dropped down from like 20 something to 12, so that says something. Yes, Deb.
That was a fantastic class, Steve. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Deb.
So you never do a CMA report is what you're
No,
saying?
never.
You just have the properties out.
Yeah,
That's what-
and so here's why. Let's say Jen comes in next behind me and she's got this beautiful I don't even want to use Jen, but somebody else from another company comes in and they've got this beautiful fluffy CMA that they have. And they come in through the house and they're all, yes, man, no substance. Oh, absolutely, we can get that price and all this kind of crap, right? I came in and I said, here's the facts. And then I told them how to fix their house and how to showcase their home. And so what I did was I sold them that I was the professional, right? I've gone up against so many agents. They come in, they have no substance, they have no marketing plan. They can't tell them what to do. They can't even say your house stinks like cat piss, right? Which I will tell them. And, you know, and they want to hear this outside person, right? And I won probably over 90% of all the listings that I did so I mean, people like blunt and direct. Most people like blunt and direct. The husband may appreciate it a little more than the wife. But so when we're on that second tour, I'm like, take some notes because I'm going to tell you how to showcase your home and everything like that, right? And most all the time, it's one of them tapping the other. See, I told you we need to do that kind of thing, right? And so I'm feeding off of that, right? Okay, good, because I'm telling them things they already know, right? So it's all about being the professional and selling yourself on as the professional, and then it's more becomes let them do the talking and let them spill their guts on everything else, because it's just more knowledge that you're going to get to overcome objections and things like that. And then, okay, are we ready to sign this listing? Let's do it. Yeah.
Can we do, I don't know, it would
Yeah.
be fun to do like a mock, or a mock, listing appointment with a really difficult.
You know,
Sure,
Women's Council of Realtors is actually having an event, like in the next 2 or 3 weeks, where they are putting 2 agents head to head to do listing presentations.
One of the Dover one thing.
It doesn't matter, you can come as a guest.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely, were you one of those? Are you one of the, okay, I thought they told me that you were going to be one of them, but there's going to be 2 top listing agents that will go head to head
I want to see.
in a listing.
Stephen.
Right,
We don't want to see Steve and Jen go head to head. We want to go head to head. I would rather go head to head against any of you than Jen.
Than me? Why?
She intimidates me. Are you kidding? She's the only one in the room that I'm like, oh crap, I'm nervous.
What would be fun is to do a candid camera type deal, have it all set up and have agents go in.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay, well, thanks for coming. Eat some donuts. We'll take your thought into consideration.
Thank you.